Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Didn't you have a speaker that talked about Tico and the trolley line? I'm trying to remember the person's name. So, I had asked a few questions. I didn't get your responses. I have to follow up with Courtney.
Yeah, the advertising, we asked for them to increase advertising and then also the people that were using it to contribute. Like, Serena.
Yeah.
Sponsorship.
Yeah.
What you been, buddy? Dude.
I've been gone.
Where you been?
I traveled all of December, literally the entire month. Yeah.
Good for you.
Okay, so, on the side, everything is set now. I just did it for her. You guys can start when you need to, okay?
5:30. Okay. Is Mark coming?
They can start whenever. You just gotta sit there and be Courtney.
Okay, 5:30. Call the meeting.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. Let's do a roll call. And Andy Scaglione. At this point, public comment. Can you ask me to speak?
Yeah.
Why don't you get a little closer, Ken?
Okay. Density in the general district, height of process, and mirror that to what's going on with the CBD. I've asked for the city to provide the text amendment. I've gotten some information. Yet to see, receiving the response, I'd like to get one. The other thing real quick is that I think we've got 9 years left on the CRA, and this is a good thing. The CRA's got a lot of money coming in, and it's going to have a lot of money coming in for the next 9 years. I think it would make sense in the next budget that we put together to, kind of look at how this thing closes, how it ends, because the end is coming quicker than we think. And obviously, we've got the park tonight that we're going to talk about. We've got hopefully the expansion of Madison Street Park and fixing that back up again. We've got a couple more infrastructure projects. They're doing the work on Whiting Street now. This is great. And I know they're going to start to work on North 12th Street and putting the storm sewer pipe on Jackson Drive. That's all wonderful. But I think it makes sense with this budget cycle that we really look at, okay, what are all the things we need to get everything done? What do we think that's going to cost? And I think the conclusion is going to be that the challenge is going to have a good bit of money to actually do workforce housing. So I think, though it's 9 years away, I think it makes sense to start looking at all these things now. That's all.
Ken,
Yes.
so the issue you're talking about is that we had requested this board here, that we wanted to be equal to downtown where they don't have a height requirement other than FAA and the approval process. That the only thing separating us is Meridian. And going off memory, that we actually have a better situation because we're surrounded with water, so it's not like we have neighbors that would ever complain. So you're saying that nothing has been done with that?
No, current text amendment, it bumps the density up to 10.5, which my private text amendment did last year.
Right.
That's a housekeeping thing. It should be done, but it's not making the density the same as CBD. And the height was waived. The height restriction was, I believe, 171 feet. A variance for that has been routinely granted. I got a 36-foot building approved 18 years ago. Didn't get built, but and it's good that they do that. But the two key things in that text amendment, by my mind, are the density identical to the CBD, and very importantly, the approval process, because downtown is an administrative process. It's 45 to 60 days. You don't have to do the whole rezoning thing because here, everything is going from whatever it is, RM 100 to the CD1 or CD2. There's no opposition to that. Everybody, what people want to see is they want to see less service lots and more buildings and stuff. So anything the city can do that can enhance that would be great. What I was told was that they want to do density and the approval process with a larger code rewrite, which is a rewrite of the entire land development code for the entire city. My sense is that could take years. And that's why we want to do a public context just for the challenge.
So is, and refresh my memory, is just track, not fast track. It would, what is the terminology of public sponsored? Okay, well, I have a presentation to do, a yearly presentation, and we'll include that in there. That because this council's ready, council has to direct that to happen. So what you're saying is it never happened. Okay. And that has to be done. The deadline on that is March. And do you have a date on that March date? Can you get with me and Courtney and give me that date? This way I okay. But I'm saying what the deadline in March that you're talking about?
That's
Okay. And is that the end of March, beginning of March? You don't know. Okay. Can one of y'all find out? And this way I can include in my report to show that there's a deadline on this.
It's pretty simple. I mean, council just needs to vote.
But I thought you're saying that they revoted. I mean, I remember they voted on this. Okay, thank you very much. Always thank you for showing up. Okay, any other public comment? Please, Raj, old face from the past.
The one on the Meridian house, and I think at the bottom of the Publix too, this old curb cuts to the sidewalk. And Thea said that they're changing those to upright curbs so that vehicles aren't pulling right onto the sidewalks. Safety reasons that are blocking people and bike riders and all that. So even right now, we're drivers and pull up right onto the sidewalks because those curbs haven't been closed off by Thea. But they were supposed to do that back in 2020, because Rob walked it with Thea, and it just never happened. So I don't know if that's something the city can bring back up with them to close off those curbs. So those are there from when there used to be warehouses there, and so they had to keep their vehicle access there. But obviously the buildings are there now, so they just need to close off those curbs.
Okay.
And then the other minor thing is that I brought up that they were going to explore at the stormwater pond at the bottom of the towers at Meridian in Cumberland. So they were going to talk to them to explore, is it possible to create like a boardwalk out to that pond to become like passive park space? Because right now, obviously, it's almost like, it's not utilized. But if you just build a boardwalk over that water, is that even possible? Would that impede their needs to maintain anything in there just to create more passive park space for the neighborhood?
And exactly where is that, Raj?
Meridian and Cumberland, the bottom of the towers.
By the towers, there's a
Okay.
little.
There's a big pond right there.
Did you guys discuss that during your meetings?
The city always said they're going to talk to Thea to see if that's possible. But right now, there's that concrete jut out.
Yeah.
And then if you just expand like a wooden decking out far, put planters and tables, chairs, it's just.
I think the only problem is they have to mow it, be able to get to it, to mow it down underneath.
On the berms, yeah. So that's what they were going to explore. It's more of, we don't have much park space. but, just trying to throw out ideas for the.
Yeah, we live right there, I know.
And then funding there.
Sidewalk on Meridian right there is really small too. So maybe there's, like, going from, um, going towards the Publix.
Oh, yeah.
The sidewalk's very, very thin.
Yeah.
I was wondering if, there's, maybe the boardwalk could help with that too.
Oh, yeah, I don't think this was, it was just.
No.
That pond sitting from where that.
Yeah,
in-
yeah, but it's one of those leftover tiny sidewalks.
Can we, Woody, can you check and see if anything came of it?
Yeah, and I'm working with Rob on another project coincidentally.
Yeah.
He's with a private firm now, but I'm working with him on wayfinding signage project. So I have access to him, so I can ask what he remembers of these two issues.
Yeah, because we just had to come out to look at the drainage on that because all the drainage issues we had back during the hurricanes, they mentioned,
Oh,
could go along. Phone people, but we'll see if they've had some change.
Thank you, Rich, because the new fella at Theo's really, really gets it. And I think it's a good idea and they can do it. They'll do it.
Okay,
So,
I'll follow.
yeah. Joyce, thank you for coming here and thank you so much. Any other public comment? Okay, I see none. So we will go into actual items. Has everybody reviewed the minutes of November 22nd?
I had this Kansas City Council approval on one for a second bullet.
Yeah, and I'll follow up. If that's incorrect, I'll edit the minutes.
It's, it just says, project is commissioned by the Kansas City Council.
Okay. Yeah, good catch. Good. Any other corrections? See none. Can I get a motion on the floor? Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, Steve's second. And minutes are approved, November minutes. Speakers and presentations, actually, Tony texted me and said that he had a sickness in his family, but I think he was going to try to get a representative here. Yes, sir. Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, you're good, wherever. You're good. Yeah, you're good.
Give you an update of what.
Please.
was going on? Okay, well, I actually just came here, I'm Pete Clance, I'm the VP of Experience Design Planning for the Accord.
Oh, great.
So I really wanted to hear what's going on in the park, so. Then I heard Tony was going to be here, so he said, hey, can you give him a? We had a great Yuletide season, and so we're taking a breath right now. And we had really good feedback. And specifically on the way we lit up the Q Garden. I don't know if anybody noticed that. And props to our engineering team who kind of embraced it and just went nuts. And I'm going to continue to just, implore them to go in next year and do even better. So we got a lot of good feedback for that. We had a lot of good guest feedback for, the event itself. And we had a peer review too. We had some secret shoppers come in that are in the attraction business. So we got a lot of good feedback for them for next year. So we're already start planning for next year. So that's looking good. I think that with the Yuletides, we had the upcycled tree out front. So we added ornaments that were designed with reclaimed Gasparilla beads. And we've done the same thing. We're doing that right now. I don't know if anybody's seen, we have the big bin, you're shaking your head, yes. So we have that big bin. And so we want to continue to recycle and essentially upcycle them for next year. Our tide pool exhibit, I don't know if you've seen that one. We opened it up last summer. We added 200 more animals to that, so it looks fantastic. And not only that, we made USA Today's #5 attraction for 2025. So that's a big feather in our task. So anyway.
Thank you very much.
Is that good?
That's good. Good job. Okay. We're going to CRA staff, Ms. Core.
Yeah, so the attachment is last page of your packet, providing an update on all the projects that are happening within the channel district. So the updates in my far right column. Just want to review that and then ask me any questions now or via email. That works.
A silly, maybe housekeeping question, but do we know what we're going to call the Madison Park expansion into that new 1125, 1127? Does it have a name yet, or?
It would be an expansion of
Okay.
Madison Street Park is the plan at this point. I'm
Just
not aware
curious.
of having a different name.
The park is looking a little worn right now.
It's a lot of
Right.
TLC.
But once the Channel Club removed that scaffolding, they left a lot of footprints of it. I
Uh-huh.
was wondering if there's, are they going to sandblast that, off the footprints of the scaffolding that they had to protect the walkers?
I'll make it.
Because right now you see the squares where all the lights were.
Yeah, I think, and if I could just tack on to that, because I live right there. Is there a plan this coming spring for some updated landscaping? It didn't get any TLC since the hurricanes came through. We still have tree stumps sticking up and,
In Madison?
Yeah.
and like a lot of the irrigation tubing is visible and pulled up. So I think it needs a little love when it gets warmer out. Thank you.
That's really it, Andy.
Yeah, I'm just looking, I'm looking for the 12th Street. Is that on here?
The stormwater improvements or the infrastructure improvements.
On 12th Street? I don't see it on here.
Well, it won't begin. We haven't funded it yet. It's gonna be, it's gonna be in the fiscal year 27 budget.
Yeah, I just left there in that area. I mean, there's standing water all the time on 12th Street. It just looks really terrible. What's that called? That apartment? Yeah, just always standing water there. I can't wait for that to happen. So,
And also when cars drive by, they douse the people walking.
yeah. Do you know what I'm talking?
Yeah, so Ken actually alluded to it earlier that we're working on Twigs, and then we're gonna go directly to 12th Street North and then budget it in fiscal year 27.
Okay,
So it's directly following the completion of Twigs.
okay, great.
Yeah, so we'll be there in the next several months, few months.
Good. Fantastic.
For the Whiting Street project, my understanding is that they forgot to, or they put the wrong piping in.
Oh.
And
Okay.
that's extending it now. Something about, there was a miscommunication, I guess, around what type of piping was going in. And how to redo it.
Oh,
I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
Okay, I was just curious how that would impact the total cost,
Okay,
if that's gonna.
I could check on
Yeah.
that too.
Can you also have a city look at the street lights, South 12th and Cumberland? First three street lights coming from Cumberland on the right next to the Fort Garage. They have not worked for a month now. They did some work in that area. I don't know if something happened, but they haven't worked for a while.
Okay, say that, the address again?
Three street lights right at corner of going south from Channel Side onto South 12th Street. They're on the east side, right next to the garage. It's right where the folks dump out before the garage to get spark.
Okay.
Any other? Okay, good deal. And Courtney, any?
Nope, we can transition to the board shop now.
Okay, so any new business? See none. So announcements from CAC members? Okay, see none. So we're adjourned. So now we're going to go into, after adjournment, we're going to go into the workshop for the 8th. Just correct this. Actually, this is incorrect. Where it says the next meeting, January 7th. Just make note of that,
Yeah.
correct that.
Mhm.
And we're gonna go into the community workshop for the 810 Channel Side Drive Park begins.
Well, good evening. Like Eric just mentioned, so you all are wanting to stay, I would highly encourage it. And obviously, anybody else who's in the audience, please feel free to come up and participate. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a rundown, you're already familiar with this site. The CRA has owned it for a couple of years, and as you're aware, park space is one of the most highly coveted topics, I think, within the Channel District CRA. So when we bought this, it has kind of a unique dimension just in terms of its size and locations. So really our goal is to transform it in the way that anybody who lives, works, or plays in the district can really get the most out of it. So what we'll do is turn it over to Collier staff. They're our partners on this project. We'll give you kind of a rundown of the work that we've done so far on this project. And then we can go ahead and open it up to the workshop so that you guys can have more of an education class, kind of let us know what you're thinking. And then, yeah, go ahead and go from there. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Greg. So thank you very much, Bryce.
All right, well, so Bryce has already introduced it a little bit, and I know you guys have some background here, so I will be brief. So today we're going to be talking about the 810 Channel Side Drive Park. And the intent today is that as an engineering firm, I'm Greg C. Colliers Engineering Design. As an engineer, I have 0% creativity. So hopefully we can channel your appetites for creativity and other things tonight a little bit so that we get some feedback and then we can use to bring a park that's going to really elevate the area and bring happiness for decades to come. And I would also be remiss to say that it's been great partnering with the city on this because they've been so supportive on just about everything. So we really appreciate the feedback that we've gotten to date. We're going to talk about it in a second. It's been really successful so far, so we're excited to take that to the next level tonight. So on the left, you'll see the meeting overview for right now. On the right, you will see the site in red. Let's see, we're going to go with that. So here's the site. The Florida Aquarium is right here. Here's the parking area for the Florida Aquarium. My kids, some might call this the port parking area. I would call this the Florida Aquarium parking area because of my kids. So it's across the street, just north of 810 Channel Side Garage, the 4-story garage. As we zoom out a little bit, you can see our site still in red, and in green highlighted are nearby parks areas that are currently there. And we're doing this to remind everybody that we do have park space in the area, and it does serve function right now. So we're really also looking to have your input as to the gaps in the park space. What's missing right now? What can we backfill that's really going to make that space useful and have it full? Because the last thing we want is to have a park space that is redundant or not necessary for folks. So going to the park overview, certainly off the left, you can see the current state of the park. And this is one of our favorite shots. And the challenges one of the challenges we want you guys to try and help us tackle today. This is from the west side or the left side of the site, looking towards the east towards Channel Side. So the city of Tampa is going to be partnering with a local artist to provide art. And so that's going to be one function of this park. Connectivity, certainly going from 12th over to Channel Side. Anybody that walks up and down 12th in that area knows that there is a difficulty with connectivity getting across over to Channel Side right there. Shade, I would just say that shade has been brought up in our previous public outings pretty much quite a bit. So you won't be hearing about shade for the last time today. And then certainly green space and a place to gather. Like we said, we want it to be useful. We want it to fill gaps that other parks don't currently fill, and using activating features to do that. So we'll start with public engagement today. We had one prior event, which was the third Thursday Tampa Market. It was a great success. Over 100 folks, I think, well over 100 folks have taken the online survey, which was launched in conjunction with the event. And certainly, we'll take this moment to introduce you guys to the QR codes here on all of our literature. Please feel free to use that QR code to take the online survey yourself. If there's anybody that might be interested in your area, certainly feel free to provide that to them too. The more input, the better. We're really happy with the input we've gotten so far, but we would love to have more. So we launched the online survey, and at this third Thursday, we provided the literature you see here, the concepts, and the precedent imagery, which we'll go through in a second. And like I said, we collected public feedback. We will have a similar board today where if you have it, we'll have sticky notes. If you want to write something that's inspired you here, then certainly do so. And we also have red and green dots. So on the precedent imagery, if you see something that you like on the precedent imagery, stick a green dot on there. If you see something you don't like, stick a red dot on there. So anything we can do to just get the creative juices flowing. So previously, to give you guys a taste of some things that we've seen come up, shade and comfort, like I said, that's going to show up quite briefly. That was one of the top concerns previously in our taking down data. Water features, play and kids, nature and green, art and culture, sports and recreation, food and vendors. And I would say the one somewhat not positive comment that we got is that a lot of folks have seen that there are a number of dog parks in the area. And so making sure that there's no redundancy there was a concern. So those are some of the things we've seen so far. But certainly we don't want to cloud your guys' judgments as to anything that you want to see here. So going through the concept plans. So we certainly have some folks here that are going to do a much better job at talking through these concept plans and some of the things that you might take away from it. So I'll be very brief here because I want you guys to get up close and personal to these to see some of the features. And I would also note that these concept plans are simply just a start. You know, you might see one thing on there that you really like, other things that you really don't like. That is all perfectly fine and normal. These are meant to just start the creative juices for everybody to give you guys some ideas. So the first, I think one thing that I would like to just point out as a feature is a lighting tunnel on the left-hand or west side of the site. Like we talked about from that photo, making sure that coming off of 12th, that it's welcoming from the west and that it feels safe and that people feel invited into the park from the west side, not just the east side, is critical. So the light tunnel is kind of really a fun take on that to get people engaged from the west. And then down at the bottom right-hand corner, that's further kind of solidified the light concept with some active light features that, you know, are motion activated and other things like that. And then the iconic art piece would fall in the top right corner, and on the top left, there is a location for the food and vendor kiosk. So here's some precedent imagery that might strike your fancy. There's certainly a lot more precedent imagery up here for one, which is all the way along your right-hand side. Concept plan number two, a lot heavier on the food truck and farmers market kiosks. So that is one of the defining features of this, as well as a lot of seating area. And then also I really liked, or a lot of folks have also talked about the exploration area and the outdoor classroom that you will see kind of central, a little bit lower than central. And the iconic art piece falls in the center, near the center of this. And once again, here's some precedent imagery. Might just get you guys started around thinking along those lines. And concept plan number three, finally. This one has a lot of features on the top left corner of the park that you'll see, or the northwest corner. You'll see playground, climbing structure, playground swings, fun chair, playground playgrounds. And then as we head towards the center, you'll see a wood platform and food vendor areas and a lot of seating. And certainly that there's a good amount of green space area in this particular one as well. So some precedent imagery for concept number 3. To get you guys thinking about what some of those items might look like. This fun shares was a crowd favorite our last meeting. And then just to brief you guys on where we're at, where we're going, and time frame. So that was where we come from. The upcoming milestones are that we will leave this survey that is present on all these imagery, on all this imagery, open until February 8th. So anybody is welcome to take that online survey. And once that survey is closed, we're going to take all that data and continue to assimilate it and continue to analyze it to see which of the plans is most like, which of the features are most like, and use that to take it, and you'll see the timeline there for 30%, 60%, 100% permitting, procurement, and construction. Are there any questions? Yes.
What's the connection with the Washington Street Park redevelopment? My understanding was that that's being held and then this will be done together.
When you say the Washington Street, do you mean just the RFP for that one?
Yeah.
So-
That was like a year ago. I
Yeah.
think.
That has been, what were you gonna say, John? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard you, sorry. Oh. Sorry about that.
The strategy is to projects to get a little bit bigger firm, get more bang for our buck in the design build. This one, the scope is going to take it. Correct me, y'all are doing complete documents for this one. So we're doing design, bid, build, so they'll have finished drawings that we can put out to bid. What we've learned on some of our other design build projects is when they're kind of small, like Washington Street is relatively small, it's hard to get a lot of interest because of the overhead associated with design build. So we're going to lump it in with the bigger project at 36, and that's what's driving. City council, I think, smartly wanted to see if there was going to be some money left over from the previous fiscal years before they decided how they wanted to fund 36, and whether that was CRA or leftover money or whatever. So it's unfortunate. Washington Street is sitting on the shelf. We've got the criteria all written, it's ready to go, but we need to group it with 36. But this one's all on its own. This one might take Washington Street at this rate.
Yeah. Hopefully not. But anyways.
It is important, though, that Greg mentioned that we do want to consider the programming in each one and not be redundant. And so it has been really good that they've worked timed up together. So, and then with Madison Street potentially expanding, it'll be really neat when we start doing the study for what we need at Madison Street. We can look at these other parks. And we can sort of build, we don't have one big park in Channel Side, but how can we combine all of our little parks to get all the program elements that the community needs?
Thank you.
I did mention that the city has been very engaged and very helpful in all this, and I think you guys just got another taste of that. So we don't always get this amount of support, so it's very much appreciated, and it's been extremely helpful.
So permit for fall 26, when was construction begin?
We have it down for 2027.
Oh, okay, but no completion date.
Then we give it a year. So if we can get this thing advertised at the beginning of the fiscal year, we'll give them 365 days to.
There's a mural on the side of the building that's on the 12th Street side. Is that staying?
That would be, are you talking about one of these buildings?
Yeah, this mural here.
That would be a private property
Right.
owner issue, so in the walkway. Oh, right here, again, same thing. We wouldn't be able to
Okay.
basically dictate whether yes or no, so it's up to that owner.
Has the owner been involved in the discussions like with the light? Because I see
We-
they have a couple of windows. and they
Yeah.
want it very involved.
We have kept them involved on the environmental remediation portion. They've been part of the same, just general FYIs about all of these ongoing things. No more or less than any other Channel District resident. But we would certainly, want to reach out to these property owners as well. So that's a great point that you bring up. So, yeah.
I mean, we can ask if they would mind leaving because I think it's a good camera.
Yeah. It's a beautiful mural. And one of the things that we actually talked about pretty early on in this project was just different lighting options that we could, install along here, not necessarily just for the mural, but just more as a septet, component, that would also help the mural. So, yeah.
Do we have permission from the port to do something on their side, which is the parking lot, which is just kind of like.
Are you talking about like on the actual parking
Yeah.
garage? We don't yet.
Okay.
That is something that we could certainly explore. So if we wanted to do like a projection, or if we wanted to install art, we would need to obviously contact them because it is their property. That's not something that we've gotten into too far yet with this project, mostly just because we're focused on this site and kind of what the main functionality is. Once we move forward to the actual design, we can certainly look at, different components that we can do for the garage if the port is agreeable to it. So
Would there be interest on that second building, putting a mural on there, on the backside?
it depends. It's private property. So the CRA, yeah.
He owns-
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, the CRA can't come in and say. Anyways, and murals and art, one thing I will add, and this is. We have to be very, not strategic, but smart about how we are including art into layout of the park. CRAs technically don't have any statutory justification for saying, we're just gonna pay for its own sculpture, it's gonna be its own individual art piece. By comparison, and you'll see this on some of the ports like this one right here, this is kind of like a tunnel, they have a bench, they have swings. If we're building a main piece of park equipment or a main piece of lighting, and that's the primary use, we can incorporate art into the design. So that's how we're able to get the artistic component into a project like this. If we were just to plop a statue in the middle of it after the fact, that wouldn't necessarily be something that's allowable under statute, but it's mostly just a technicality that applies to the CAC, just so that you guys are kind of aware of it. It doesn't change anything major with kind of what we're trying to do, but it's just an important consideration. So I'm glad you brought up wall murals, because that's a question that was brought up with our meeting with the attorney yesterday. So that in itself, even if we did own a property where we could put a mural on, it may not fly if we were to, try to justify it with statute.
Thanks for asking the question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
District has a history of being an arts district.
Yeah, absolutely.
And arts community still have some residents that are. Should be asking at least.
Yes.
Because it's part of our heritage.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm open to it.
Yeah, perfect.
I have still a question about that.
So just a clarification, so that entrance, that's public, but two buildings are private.
It is, yeah.
So that's a little semi-easy. The other thing I want to bring attention to, I like the Bibles all and fine. I think this would be a great neighborhood park that Chancellor District needs. We don't have a true neighborhood park at all. I've been here 6 years now, I live at Wicked Lofts, I go over there. And 12th Street is a problem to me in the sense it's a perfect street, it's a perfect sense of play street, but it's not, it's cared for. The gentlemen in yellow jackets do a good job keeping it clean, but we have garbage cans, no tops, bent up, downpavement, benches falling apart. It's not very inviting. If we're going to spend the money on here, that street needs a little love to get that attention here. It's got to be connected with that. It doesn't, seems like this would be like a one-off. I don't want them, it just, it's not as inviting. So I just wanted to bring that attention. Record the comments right now.
Absolutely. I know other CRA districts have hired teams to come in and
They do a good job, because there's a bunch of nuts that come in, kind of swear,
Yeah.
and hang out, when everything's going on. But it's the physical benches, sidewalks, the garbage can drive you nuts. It's just, it says we don't care.
Yes.
And, just something to consider, a little love from the CRA to that.
No, it's an excellent point, because we don't have kind of sitting on this nice shiny art where surrounded doesn't necessarily, meet things. So,
We're not Water Street, we shouldn't treat it like Water Street, it's a whole different level, but we should care for it like Water Street.
yeah, absolutely. Other question?
Thank you.
Yes,
Um, Hi, Kat Hardwick. I went to the Third Thursday event, so I've already put this down, but this is like my #1 soapbox. I come from a background with a business improvement district where we did a lot of programming in public parks. And I always get a little concerned when I see a park design that's just very heavily designed around programming, unless there is a dedicated entity and dedicated funding to do ongoing programming around the year. So I just wanted to put that out there. I wasn't sure if an entity had been identified to partner with, if we go in that direction, but.
So, no, to answer your question, and that's an excellent point, that the CRA, we have to bring it up a lot with our projects as well, whether it's a park or housing or economic development. We want organizations to come in and we want tenants to come in to actually, utilize the space as much as it can be. For example, one, I think, thought, kind of going off that point, food trucks, for example. This site, it actually already has a driveway off of Channelside Drive into it. So in terms of the layout, yes, it's a wonderful idea. However, when you really think about it, what does the programming for a food truck in this particular location actually look like? Not necessarily on a day-to-day basis, but when would it actually come in? When is the most foot traffic going to be there? How does the permitting process look for a food truck or a business to operate? So those are all good questions that, we're aware of, and, it's something that we're obviously going to take into consideration for the final design. So, and also just given the fact, the November 20th, Third Thursday workshop, Tampa Bay Markets is the organization that oversees and coordinates that, and Channel District already has that type of opportunity for that very specific type of use. And so I don't need to make this whole presentation about food trucks, but it's a good example because it's a question that, it needs to be asked, it needs to be considered. So yeah, we're very much aware of it. Go ahead.
I'd just like to chime in on that I'm the president of the Master Association of Education in Grand Central, and we pay for the food truck event. The city sponsored it for a while, but they pulled out, and the residents of Grand Central picked up the slack on that. So
yeah,
we fund that 100%.
Okay.
And I would just tell you, as someone who was involved with the planning of the Madison Street Park, about half of the space in Madison Street Park was designed specifically for programming. And that park's been there for over 5 years, and we've had 0 events. So hopefully we're going to give that park a redo with the expansion of A&D and hopefully Sandra Dickey's building at some point in the future. I wouldn't put any space for program events in this park, or if the Boston Park gets redone or Madison Street Park gets redone, there is no dedicated source of funding. And while Curtis Hickson and the park, Julie B. Lane across the river, have the scale to have large events where promoters will come in and pay for it, we don't. So really, we've had half of the Madison Street Park be basically fallow for 5 years. I don't think, well, that's not a criticism of the city or anybody else. We don't want to beat that.
Yeah.
Whatever we put here has to stand on its own.
And I believe Washington Park is the one that the Tampa Downtown Partnership does do some programming in. Occasionally, I know they do like date nights every third Thursday. So we do have an entity that does a small amount of programming in one of our parks already, as well as the food trucks, which we are there every third Thursday. So thank you. But yes, so just to double down on that.
It's all very valuable because we don't want to build a site where all of these same conflicts are. That's not,
This is good feedback from Parks and Rec perspective. It's the thing that we talking about all the time, this exact thing. We can set the table, but if there's not an entity that's actually doing the programming can't be the activated feature. So especially in the Channel District, and this one with the peculiar shape that it is and how it's sort of surrounded off from the street, you need an activated feature for it to feel safe and be engaging. And unless you have super regular programming, the programming can't be the activated feature. So as y'all go start putting dots on the board and do your sticky notes, be thinking about what is the activated thing, like why are people coming here? Is it playground? We have plenty of dog parks. Is it we're really hopeful that when the development happens with what the parking lots on the north, that one day maybe we'll have first floor cafe that faces the park. And that would be the best possible activity feature. Before we get that, what do we do? And Parks and Rec does have concessionaires, like at Ballast Point, we have, used to be the Taste of Boston, might change the name now. And we have 4 greens and wheels and there's 6 in an obstacle stand. So we have had concessionaires in our parks. And there may be an opportunity where instead of food truck, it's concessionaire and the concessionaire food truck, and they're just there. But we would have to know that they would be interested in getting a business. And as the people who live in the community, you'll know, like, okay, with the cruise people and with the people walking on the street, if you think that that's viable, that somebody would be interested in actually doing business there. Then it can be activated if somebody's like, so give that all some thought, open to any kind of activating ideas you might have. And this might be a good time for us to like stand up, break out, let's go look at the pictures. Bryce and me and Greg will all be here, but get your thoughts down. So we're not just doing classroom style. I want you to come see all the pictures and put your comments on things, and our consultants and Bryce will translate all of that, and then our consultants owe us some analysis. So they're going to think about all of that, and they're going to come back to us and say, this is what people want, 4-story dog park. Programming. That's, Greg's already got a lot of your comments. He started it for you. The officer over here. Thank you, guys.
That was a good point you made.
Thank you. Yeah,
That'd be great if we could use that wall. I mean, yeah, you know.
Yeah, we did like a system. Specifically, or else if we thought there was a benefit to it, so if they haven't done all the registrations, fine.
It's right across the street. I know Roger had a big interest in being involved in this.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the word? Vows. Vows, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Wi-Fi. They go back to work. It's very
As you remind me of.
Probably that.
I'll sort of respond to that. I don't know if that is.
Okay.
The shape of the space.
Yeah, sure. So, I wrote down was. Yes. Okay. Then my other question is, what are these, all these dates? That's the. So, yeah. It goes with the SAC. Okay. Yeah. That's why. No. Okay. Do you know this? We went to council this night. Oh,